Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, the show for visionary coaches, healers, wellness pros, and small business owners who aren't just here to host another feel-good getaway, but to build a profitable, impactful retreat business. I'm your host, Shannon Jamail, retreat strategist, business mentor, and owner of a 46-acre retreat center. I've hosted over 100 retreats around the world, and I've made every mistake so you don't have to. Each week, we'll dive into the mindset, marketing, money, business, and mechanics behind sold-out, profitable retreats. Plus, hear from expert guests who are walking the talk. Whether you're planning your first retreat or scaling your 100th, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show. Hey guys, welcome back to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. Today, I have a seriously special guest. I am so excited about my guest today. I have worked with this individual now for at least 3 years. I think it's been at least 3 years that I have met this person and worked with him and his team. And I am so excited to have Justin Gottlieb on the show. Welcome, Justin.
Thanks for having me, Shannon. I really appreciate it.
I am so excited for a number of reasons. I met you 3 years ago through Leola, and you two do a co-hosting beautiful retreat here at Retreat Ranch. And now I think you've hosted 5 retreats
8.
here? Here?
8.
Justin!
Yeah, so it might have been 4 years or 3.5. I'm not sure when we did our first one, but it might have been close to 4 years at this point.
Oh my gosh, my numbers are way off. I think that you're just part of the family. So every time you guys show up, it just feels like family visiting. And so maybe that's what it is. But anyway, we love when you are here. And one of the things that I think is so powerful, Justin, the work that you do and Leola does, but that I get to see here at the ranch and just following you a little bit in your journey and who you are is it's just a beautiful thing. And we're going to talk about it. But before I do that, before we dive right into it, we can kind of start it off by you just telling us like really who you are, what you do, and what brought you to where you are today.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm a sexual freedom coach. I started off kind of in the corporate world and started doing some transformational trainings and personal developments and realized the corporate world wasn't my purpose or passion. So I started doing some like coaching work and realized that really a lot of the things that people needed the most support in was around intimacy, sexuality, communication, empowering themselves, being able to ask for what they want in life, being able to have strong boundaries. So that really led me to Tantra, right? Tantra is really the only spiritual teaching, personal development teaching that focuses on the side of intimacy and sexuality that most other areas of growth kind of steer away from. So I thought not only is this one of the most powerful areas in the life, but it's one of the most underserved. So through the time I was a Tantric practitioner, I guess you'd call me, and I was doing Tantra massage. I still do that. And that kind of moved into like doing some events and here or there and kind of just what you do and start facilitating. And then I met Leola. And when we met, we were just like, yeah, we need to do something together. And she had really suggested like doing a retreat. And I was like, all right, that's a pretty big way to start things off with us. And she was, lives in Austin, was able to find your space. And I think she attended or assisted at a retreat there and was just like, hey, this place is great. I was like, this seems awesome for us, and there's a lot of reasons why we could get into later of why I like it there. But that had me doing these retreats, and it just took it on a life of its own, and now it's one of my biggest passions and favorite things to do.
Justin, so I remember that very first retreat, and I was so blown away by many things. I was blown away by the guests that came that you attracted into your retreat. I was blown away by the team. I was blown away by the organization. And I say that coming from someone who's done retreats now for 15 years, and then someone who has a venue, and I see hosts coming through here. For it being your first retreat, how well thought out and organized it was just blew me away. Now, I'm sure you could look back, Justin, and go, wow, all of these things could have been different, and I learned and I changed and all that. But I'm just saying from a first retreat, it blew me away. So I just thought I would say that. And then what I really want to first start is the misconceptions around Tantra. Because I really feel like when people hear that, they're like, oh, it's just a sex club, or it's just there's just too many misconceptions. I get it even as a venue, Justin, when people see your stuff and they know that you're coming, they're like, what is that, a swingers party? And so could you just help us really understand what it is and what you're doing on your retreats?
Yeah, so let me just first say, like in my personal life and in some of my work, I do work in the swinger world, lifestyle world. I do embrace all of sexuality in all the ways that it is, so that we can really grow and support ourselves in healing in that realm. However, Tantra is not just about sex; it is about many, many different things. The biggest misconception is it's just some big orgy or it's only about sex, and probably Tantra is about 10% about sexuality, intimacy, and that could be self-pleasure, that could be around tantric union and sexuality, and many other things around just sexual energy and how to move emotions and energy through the body. Tantra massage would be one of the main ways. That's going to get all the headlines, right? Sex sells. But there's plenty of people that do meditation and they do breath work or they do energy work or they do Tantra yoga. And these are all parts of the traditional realms of Tantra. Now, here in the Western world, and especially in America, Tantra has really taken on a bit of a life of its own. You can still find people teaching more of the esoteric and traditional, but more often or not, we're teaching what's called Neo-Tantra. And it's a newer version of Tantra that kind of has the foundation of the more traditional, but it's bringing it into the modern day. And that's what I do. And I think that's really important. And there aren't a lot of people that are really serving the side of Tantra that is around intimacy and connection and sexuality. So that is a part of what I do. That is a part of the retreat. And you could come to my retreat and you could work with me and do nothing that is actually sexual. You could have all your clothes on. A lot of the exercises and the breakthroughs that people have are really around empowerment. How do I speak my truth? How do I feel comfortable in my own skin? How do I let go of all of the conditioning and trauma and indoctrination that I've got in my life so that I can live my life freely and actually be liberated as who I naturally am?
Okay, I'm loving this. I think I have an idea. Maybe the audience has an idea just based on that description you just gave. But if you had to identify who your ideal guest is, like what am I going through? What am I feeling? What am I experiencing that would bring me to your space?
I mean, it really does run such a large gamut of people. I mean, we have total beginners to people that are very intermediate, but it's definitely people who are looking for like some sort of community. They know that they're more open, perhaps, or accepting of others in ways that maybe in their hometown they don't see that. So they're looking for other like-minded people. They're looking for self-growth, right? That's the key of this. It really is about personal growth, and it's people that may have some preconceived notions or trauma or indoctrination and things around sexuality and intimacy. And they're saying, you know what? I've been following, and reading about Tantra and following Justin and Leola, and it's like this is the time. Like this is what I want to do. I see the videos and pictures of the retreat, and I think this is for me. And there's those people, and there's other people that are very deep into the realms and very confident in their intimate life, sexuality. Some are monogamous, some are in open relationships, but they're like, well, I want to go to one of these retreats. I want to explore what other depths there are. And because of the realms that I work in, I do get some people that are in the lifestyle and the swinger world, and they do have very open sexual lives, but they don't have the depth that Tantra and this type of intimacy can bring. So we teach a lot of the tools and a foundation so that people can explore this world to whatever level they want to, sexually and intimately, with confidence and safety.
Perfect. One of the things I know is super important to you, and I can tell by the attendees that come, is your screening process and your boundaries. Could you just share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so to me, it's one of the most important things about a retreat. I think too many people that run retreats, they're just looking to fill seats and they're looking to make their money and they're really focused on that side of it. From the beginning, me and Leola were just like, hey, even if we broke even, that'd be great on our first retreat. But more importantly, especially with the sensitive nature of what we do, it's more important that we get the right people in. And I'd rather have 10 of the right people than 20 and 10 are kind of all off and causing problems. So the screening process we put into place was, first of all, like we already built up a pretty good career and a good audience. So people knew us, and we were able to get a lot of applicants. We have a pretty thorough application, and that application really goes through everything that could possibly be a concern, not just for us, but for the participant. And then through that, then we would, well, in the earlier days, we would then take those and call up and schedule a call also. So it wasn't just the application and then you go, it's now let's go speak to this person. Let's really make sure that this is a good fit. Nowadays, we have an organizer who does that for us and really takes that big load off of us so we can focus on the content and preparation for the retreat. And then also, once they are in, At the retreat, we are very clear on our ground rules. We have an entire opening ceremony and we're talking for, a solid hour about all the rules of not only just the retreat ranch and the things so that they know the space, but what are the rules of us interacting with each other? What are the rules for yourself and taking care of yourself? We have different themes to the different ground rules even, and everyone has to agree to the rules, and everyone is also held accountable to also share if someone isn't, taking care of the rules and taking care of themselves. So we do that very thoroughly. And then also, I kind of have a zero tolerance policy. If someone is not acting within the essence of what we're teaching, they're going to get spoken to. And it's just kind of the way that Leola and I lead the retreat. People know not to like mess around or do anything that would cause anyone to feel uncomfortable or unsafe. So that's pretty kind of like woven into how we teach.
Hey guys, Shannon cutting in here real quick. Listen, the Retreat Industry Forum is happening May 14th through 17th in Denver, Colorado, and it's not your average feel-good conference. This is where bold retreat leaders, venue owners, industry pros, small business entrepreneurs come together to disrupt, challenge, and advance what's possible in our industry. You'll get cutting-edge strategy, real-world business tools, and high-level conversations about profitability, innovation, and sustainability without the fluff or kumbaya. Join myself, my friend Erin and Allison, along with other powerhouse leaders for 3 immersive days of connection, collaboration, and serious business growth, plus an exclusive VIP experience for those ready to go even deeper. Get all the details and grab your ticket now at retreatindustryforum.com. This isn't just another event, you guys. It's the movement that's reshaping the future of the retreat world. Yeah, and you can tell that. You can tell that as a staff, we get to witness some of the, not your workshops, but we get to witness some of the after effects when they're coming into the office or they're coming into the store and they're glowing and they're just like, this is blowing me away. This is even better than I thought. That's what we hear on a consistent basis is when people come in. You talked in your opening circle about the location. And as you have mentioned, you've been at Retreat Ranch now 8 times. And tell me what's important in a venue for you, because this is sacred work. This is private work to a certain degree. It's private as far as within your own community that's there. So talk to us about what's important in a venue.
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat for us, it's really important to be fully transparent with the people that we're using your home, right? This is your venue, and we are very clear of like, hey, this is what we want to do here. So if our retreat is clothing optional, we're going to let you know, not have you walk around one day and be like, wow, there's a bunch of naked people running around our ranch. And to get full buy-in from you guys, like you have to be really understanding that this is sensitive work and this isn't your typical thing that people see. This is pretty alternative. And it's important to me because I'm teaching about sexual liberation and freedom that I feel like liberated and free in this space. Because if I'm feeling like, oh, guys, we can't do that, or oh, keep it down because this and that's going on, it's going to really transfer and people will not be able to open up as much as they want. So number one is really the fact that you guys are so welcoming and also so professional, right? Like I come from the corporate world and I do feel like you guys feel like family, and also at the same time, things run so smoothly, like, a well-oiled machine. And that's super important. I also, I have a lot to focus on, a lot of space to hold for these people. And I don't really want to be worrying about, are the accommodations okay? Is everything set up right? Do we need anything? And like, are we getting complaints from participants? And thankfully, in the 8 retreats we've had, I don't remember ever getting a complaint or something that wasn't a need that wasn't handled immediately by you and your staff. So for me, to have that space be so comfortable for everybody and have things like upgraded and updated regularly. I mean, when we first started there was, so many different things. Like we had, yurts that were there that are now full on cabins. Now I'm staying in a beautiful container that's, redone. And so over the years, there's been so many improvements. And if you don't do that as a venue, then things start to fall apart, and suddenly you're like, oh, like maybe we need to find another place because this isn't being updated and taken care of. So that's all super important. And then for us also, like we knew pretty well that we were going to grow this thing, and we wanted to be selling out. And what does selling out mean? Is that 10 people can stay at the space or 30 people can stay at the space. And for us, now we've been selling out, I think the past 4 retreats, if not more. So we need 30 beds, we need places for that many people to sleep. And not to mention, for our retreat, we have a good amount of assistance.
Yeah.
So we have to find ways to make all that work, and the flexibility with Retreat Ranch makes it happen. So all of those things are probably my most important reasons. And I think I told you too, like, I feel like you guys have our back, like there
Yeah.
could be some rogue, angry person that calls you and is like, ah, they're doing, crazy sex devil work. And like, we know that you guys would be like, yeah, we know these people and we're not really concerned about what you have to say about this. And that's important to me. This is a tough
Yeah.
space to be in. So yeah, so for all those reasons, I mean, that's why I think the retreat ranch is great. And also for anybody out there looking at venues, like make sure that you're looking into all of those things.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think at the end of the day, just feeling safe. Um, Over and over again, the two things that we hear the most from your attendees first is it's even better than they imagined, or just raving about the program itself. The second one, and it gives me chills to even say it, Justin, is they're just constantly thanking us. They're thanking us that we are open. They're thanking us that they feel safe with us. They're thanking us for being a space with no judgment. And I literally have chills thinking about it because that just I can't imagine how, difficult it is when you are trying to find something like what you offer and being worried about who's around you and who's judging you. You can't get to that level that you're talking about, Justin, where you can be free and do the work that needs to be done. If you're constantly worried about what's happening around you and what people are thinking and who's saying what, then you just can't get to that work. So anyway, so it means a lot to us as well that you guys trust us and that they feel safe. And so we love that so much.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys are a part of the magic. And I think anyone, it doesn't have to be a Tantra retreat, but, if you're renting an Airbnb and you're worried that they're going to come down on you because you have more people in the house than you're supposed to, like that's going to be with you. That energy is going to be there and you're going to be looking over your shoulder instead of looking forward at the participants and making sure that everything you have to do to keep them safe or to have whatever experiences you need to have happen. Yeah, so for me that's number one. And honestly, like it only happens because you and your staff are so accepting and welcoming. Because otherwise, where would we do it? There's other places we could look into, but the fact is like we want to be somewhere that feels like home, and that's what you created.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. The last thing I want to just touch on briefly is the male. I was going to say species. That's so funny. Like, what is my brain doing? But men in the retreat space is just not as high as I'd like to see it. I feel like as a whole, if you just look statistically, females make up somewhere in the 80 plus percentile of hosts and leaders. And I'm curious, just from your perspective as being a male host who's doing it very successfully, I might add, um, why do you think that is, or what are your thoughts on it, and what do you think is holding men back from doing this work?
Huh. Yeah, when I do look around on Instagram and stuff, I do see a lot of women are doing, women's retreats, and there's a lot of work that women are hosting. And I think that might just be part of the feminine energy is like to create, to hold space, to create experiences like that. I think that's part of it. I also think generally men might be a little too calculated, right? Like if you're trying to figure everything out, and like, does this make sense? And like a lot of events don't make sense, or they don't make money, or it really depends on what your intention is. And maybe it is that loving, nurturing, caringness of women, and especially in more the spiritual realms and the yoga realms, there probably just tends to be more women there. But I do think that it is really important for men to be in the space because like there brings another element to it, right? The masculine, the structure, the penetrative energy that's really important to create, yeah, the balance. And that's really what Tantra is about is creating this balance. It's balancing that masculine and feminine, and first acknowledging that we both have that in us. Now, both Leola and I, one of the reasons our retreat's so successful is that we do it together. I've said to her a million times that I don't think I could ever do this without her. And it's not just the fact that like we get to bounce ideas off each other and we have each other's support. It's just that everyone gets to see both versions, right? The male and the female up there sharing from their own experience, and hers is so different from mine. So I think almost every retreat would benefit from having co-facilitators, male and female. And as far as men getting more into the space and doing this, yeah, I mean, listen, I came from the corporate world, and it was easy for me to present and facilitate. And like, if you have a background in the corporate space, it's now just a matter of like, do you have the content and the magnetism to bring people in to teach something that's a little different than your typical business course. But yeah, I think if more men joined in this space, especially along with women, and did retreats together, it would be super valuable for the participants and really supportive of the world, because this is really what we need in the world is men and women coming together and supporting each other.
Yeah, I love that. One of the things you mentioned is not all retreats or events are going to be successful money makers. And here, my whole philosophy is this is a business. And so we treat it like a business. Are we holding sacred space? Yes. Is there healing components to these things? Yes. Do we need to be in a servant heart? Yes. But it's also a business. And the only way that we can continue to do the things that we love is by making it a profitable business. So are there one-offs where we don't make the money that we want to make? Yeah, that can happen once in a while, but that's not the goal, and it's never the goal. I never hide the fact that I'm in a for-profit business, and I believe in profit. It means that I get to expand my business and hire more people and do more work. One of the things I've noticed, Justin, is the men that I do know in the business in this industry or this business, they understand that more than women. It tends to be, and I'm not trying to be sexist. That's not at all what I'm doing. It's just what I've noticed in my history and in my work is that men, like you mentioned, they are more analytical. They're going to break down the numbers. They're going to be like, how does this work? And where does, what's the end result? Where women are like, I just want to make something pretty. And so, do you see that? Do you notice that in the work that you do and when you work with women?
Yeah, I would say that the majority, let's say the majority, obviously we're not going to blanket statement everything, but the majority of
Absolutely.
men have a better kind of idea of working with the numbers and money and like, maybe there's a little bit of less of a scarcity, and for many reasons you could think about, but for me, I'm very abundant in my life, and I'm very clear with people that I have very high standards and the product that
Hmm.
I put out is worth a lot of money. And if
Yes.
people can't afford it, I don't really do like discounts. We really don't do that much. We have a scholarship here or there for someone who really, really is a good fit that really can't do it. But in general, it's like, hey, if you want to buy the Lamborghini, you got to afford the Lamborghini. If you're not ready for it, that's fine. And the amount of effort, and you could just tell from some of the things I've said of how we put this together and the feedback we get, it is a really well polished product. And for that, we also, part of the screening process I didn't mention is our pricing, right? There's people that will not be able to afford this, and that's totally okay. It's not for everybody. It's not for everyone at every stage in their life. You need to have a level of maturity. You need to have a level of intellectual IQ, sexual IQ, and perhaps like an understanding of how to make money in abundance to be in this space in a way that serves you best,
Hmm.
and serves everyone else best. So I think that's an important part of it. And I think that like, yeah, I mean, generally, I guess I handle the numbers a little bit more than Leola. And I think there's been times where I've been like, hey, we need to raise our prices. We need to raise our prices. And maybe once in a while she's checked me and been like, oh, I think we're good right now. And I've been like, okay, yeah. But in general, like we have consistently raised the prices and we've consistently sold out. And I think people need to look at this as a market rate, right? So if I
Yeah.
have my prices, I raise them, and all of a sudden we're like not selling out when normally we do, it's like, okay, I overshot. And now maybe I have to do some discounts and I have to bring it down for next retreat. And like that's okay. But what I don't want to be doing is charging $1,000 for a retreat that I could be charging 3,000 and selling it out too. Because like, who is that serving, right? Um,
Hmm.
and honestly, what I've found in my work is the people that I've given discounts to, the people that I've done free work with, have been the biggest problems and caused me the biggest issues. So
Yes.
that's it. That's how you're screening, and that's how it's a very passive way to screen.
So people are not going to like hearing this, but Justin, I'm just going to reiterate what you said. I have found consistently when I give full scholarships, they tend to be the guests that cause the most issues or the most disruptive. And sadly, not even they're not even very appreciative at the end of the day either. And so that's really difficult. It doesn't mean I don't still do scholarships. I do. I'm just tightening up my screening process, just like you mentioned too, because that is really important. One thing I'm hoping, Justin, is that more men come into this field, if for no other reason than to raise the market rate. There is a lot of work that goes into retreats, a lot. And it's not just at the retreat, it's the preparation to the retreat, it's the years of experience, it's everything culminating up to that retreat and then also holding space and then the recovery. People don't talk about that, like there's a recovery process too when you hold space, for people, and depending on the work you do, like your work is very deep, it's very personal, it's very energetically consuming, and so that has a recovery process. That's also time and value. And so one of the things is I'm hoping that the more men that come into the space, the more that we will raise the market rate and women won't have as much of a scarcity mindset. You mentioned that's not the case for everyone. I totally agree. Anybody who listens to this podcast knows that I'm writing in a pencil and I don't ever blanket statement. But as a whole, from what I've noticed, is women have more of a scarcity mindset. They don't want to raise prices. They're afraid that nobody's going to sign up, and they devalue the whole process, including what they're providing. So my hope, Justin, is that there'll be more men out there like you who are coming in and helping us, as a collective to raise what this industry needs to look like?
I'll give you a quick little story on that I think would support people. There was I don't know if it's a true story, but there was a guy who was having issues selling his parenting course, and it was all about how to parent and take care of your kids in the best way and raise them. And he was like, I can't sell it. I don't know what's going on. And he was selling it for $50. Went to a marketing guy, and the marketing guy looked at everything, and he goes, here's what you do: 10x the price. And the guy's like, what? I can't even sell it for 50. How am I going to sell it for 500? The guy's, just do it. And he does it, and he starts selling them like hotcakes. And he's going, what the hell happened? He goes, you're selling a course on something that's really important, like really important. And if it's only $50, these are their children. Like, this is their life. This is everything they're going to be investing in forever. $50, they're going to think this is some cheap, shoddy thing. But at 500, now they're going, oh, well, like, yeah, this is an investment, and this is something that I really need, and it's important, and I'm going to put my all into it. So they put their all into it. They do the program, they learn about it and everything, and now they come out with great results. So I know that what I'm doing at my retreat is like children, and me and Leola joke around and be like, this is our baby. And we are having people come out with the feedback that you've mentioned, and they might not do that if it was a $300 retreat, right? But at $3,000, people are also putting in the work to get there, right? They're saving up. I have some people that'll send me, a payment every month leading up to the retreat because they want to make sure they're there, that they can't put down the full deposit. And like, that's amazing that they're there to say, I am so invested in this. I'm going to make this happen. And when they show up, they're giving it their all.
Yeah. My really good friend, Erin Haig, I love what she says. Her retreats run from $12,000 to $15,000 a person. And she's like, it's easier for me to sell a $12,000 to $15,000 retreat than it is to sell a $1,500 retreat. And it really does come down to the perceived value and what's happening on the other side in the mental space as far as the market. So, Justin, thank you so much. If somebody wanted to work with you or find out more about what you do personally, professionally, in the retreat space, all of the above, how can they find you?
Yeah, sure. So my Instagram and my website's Tantra Love Coach, tantralovecoach.com. You can find me there. I do virtual coaching if you don't live in Miami. I also do private retreats with people. I do all kinds of fun in-person experiences for couples and individuals. And our retreat's called the Tantra Love Retreat. That's our level 1. This year we did our first level 2, I guess you'd call it. And it's called Tantric Transformation, which is a really, really deep dive into yourself, how you're showing up in the world, things that you need to break through, facing death, and all of these really very deep and intense topics that really had people like blown away for sure.
It did.
So yeah, so Tantra Love Retreat, Tantric Transformation. But if you need anything, reach out to me on Instagram, Tantra Love Coach, or on my website. You could contact me there. And I really hope to hear from you all. I'm very accessible and would love to work with some of you, or hopefully see you at my retreat.
I love it. All of that will also be linked in the show notes below. So, Justin, thank you so much. I so love having you guys at the ranch, and this was so much fun.
Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. If you love this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your retreat besties. Want more support? Grab free resources at theretreatleadersplaybook.com. Until next time, lead boldly, serve deeply, and retreat profitably.